Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time it is for you guys right now watching it. But here we are, day 3 of the Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas, the town, the city that never sleeps. And we're going to have a little bit of a different show today. And it's just because things are going absolutely haywire in the markets. And we're going to talk about that connection between the equity market, the bond market, and obviously the crypto market. So the 3 major things I want to get into right now is last night we heard from Nvidia after the market closed. Very good numbers. So I want to go through that a little bit just so we're all a little bit more comfortable with what's happening in the semiconductor space. Right after that, we got some massive news that a judge ruled Trump's tariffs to be illegal. So I want to explain what it means, what it doesn't mean, and how there's a little bit of a workaround that the administration can use at least for about 150 days. So I want to get into that. And then finally, just to put a cherry on top, I want to talk about the major news of this morning related to the initial jobless claims, GDP, and then we're going to wrap it up with the things to pay attention to tomorrow. So really, we're going to get, and it's different for us. Generally, we're not here mid-market session, so I'll be able to do a little bit of a real-time breakdown for all of you. Of course, I have chat up today, so whatever your questions are, please fire away, but let's get rocking with everything. So as of right now, when I was looking at it, the S&P 500 pretty much, actually slightly green on the day. When we started off the stream minutes ago, it was just break even. So not much movement. But if you were playing the futures market overnight, there was massive green moves, like I said, about late last night. And then unfortunately this morning, we gave a lot of that back. So overall, right now, I'm seeing more green than I am red. Bitcoin trading at 107, the SPY up 0.2, the Q's up 0.2. Some of our favorite tickers, Nvidia is up 4%, Tesla 1.5, Broadcom's up 1, MSTR is up 2, Meta's coming in at 0.3. So across the board, there is more green than red. As of right now, mainstream media is saying the S&P 500 rises on the back of Nvidia's gain, but overall rally is muted because of trade policy confusion. So let me just take this almost in chronological order of how things have played out from last night to this very moment. And then, of course, we'll conclude with what to look forward moving ahead. So as of right now, S&P 500, the heat map, if you're looking at something like FinViz, there's a lot more gray than anything else. Yes, we have some green. The big major one is Nvidia. Then there's some tech that's in the red, but across the board, it is not a giant green or a giant red day. If anything, it's a giant confusion day. And it all got going last night with Nvidia. I know, obviously, a lot of you guys watching this right now, you're either big traders of it, big supporters. So I just want to give you the headline numbers. 44 billion, which is a 69% year-over-year increase. The EPS was a beat, 81 versus 76, so beat by about 5 cents there. 14 billion shares repurchased. Remember, when companies are buying their own shares back, that's generally a pretty strong sign. And then just some of the other interesting numbers. There are gaming revenues up 48% year over year, and then the big one is the data center revenues up 73%. So from a fundamental perspective, those are the initial numbers that everyone is looking into. But what I think is more important here is the narrative of what's happening with Nvidia and the administration and the Blackwell chips, and can they sell to China? And if anything, Jensen, who not only did the call yesterday, and then right after he was with our boy Jimbo Cramer, and he gave even more of a breakdown, he was pretty optimistic. He was saying that, yeah, this is a little bit of a headache, but overall, they're saying the trajectory is a very, very positive one. NVIDIA said that it missed out on 2.5 billion, that's billion with a B, in sales during the April quarter, thanks to the China export restrictions on the H20. So the chip that's not as powerful. And then once again, he cited a sharp jump in inference demand, which the company's Blackwell chips are designed for. So the Blackwell doing well, downplaying what's going on with China, saying it's a bit of a headache, but things are looking good. And that's exactly why it's up 5% right now, is up even more. And the reason things are more shaky, if it was just the NVIDIA news, things would look really good. But right after we got those headline numbers from NVIDIA, we got a surprise that apparently Wall Street had been calling out from a legal standpoint. I don't think this was popularly talked about in the retail space, but the headline was this: federal judge court strikes down Trump's reciprocal tariffs, and it caused the world to go abuzz. What you need to know from it, and this is, remember, I'm not a lawyer, but I guess from a legal standpoint, the TLDR is the powers and the rules he used to enact this we're really not above board. That's what they're saying. Now, it's not saying that the tariffs themselves are illegal. It's saying the power that he used to do it. That's like the TLDR. But then for those of you who want more of a detail, a federal court struck down President Trump's worldwide reciprocal tariffs and ordered the administration to stop collecting them. A 3-judge panel on the Court of International Trade said Trump exceeded, quote unquote, any authority granted by the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Never heard of it before, but I guess it's an important one. In halting the tariff Trump ordered on Canada, Mexico, and China to combat drug trafficking, the judge had said, and this is the big thing, they quote unquote failed because they do not deal with the threats set forth of those orders. So once again, it's not that the tariffs in themselves are illegal. It's more of like the legal grouping in which the administration puts them that they're saying, no, that's not like, I guess, the right domain for them to be in. The government immediately appealed the ruling to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit, and that literally happened as quickly as last night. And then this morning, the U.S. says it may take the Trump tariff case to the Supreme Court today, Friday. So this is going to clearly just be a big legal thing, a big narrative. So it's going to be what we're going to have to talk about for the next couple of weeks as much as it is an important thing. And then once again, this morning, you had the administration, you had Hassett, Navarro, and Bissent basically all saying that what these judges are doing is wrong. Trump advisor Hassett is confident tariffs will prevail despite judges' ruling. So of course, that's what they're going to say. But it was in those morning conversations between Hassett, Navarro, and Bissent that the market started to fall down before the market actually opened. Excuse me. On that note, though, there are interesting tools that Trump and the administration can use to keep this going. So specifically, people are getting really nerdy on the legal things of it, of like the section, but here's what you need to know. The administration could quickly replace the 10% across the board tariff with a similar tariff of up to 15%. And if you want to look into it, the section is 122. If you just to throw that out there, they noted, however, that such a move would only last for up to 150 days, after which the law would require congressional action. So just because it got struck down doesn't really mean that the administration needs to stop right now. I want to be very, very clear about that. And then just to wrap it all up, the tariff ruling is a setback for Trump, but doesn't end the trade war. So I think that's very important to know. That I was even going through some publications this morning. They're like, nope, it's over. He can't do tariffs anymore. That's not right at all. If anything, he could run this for roughly about half a year, 150 days. It might change the numbers, but the point is he can keep it going while the other legal cases play out of technically, is this power allotted to him or is it not? On a trade note, but not really specific to this, the other clips that are making its round is actually from a CNBC reporter asking Trump about the trade war. And you're probably hearing this new acronym, TACO. That's becoming a really big thing right now with Trump, and specifically Trump always chickens out. And as you can imagine, really pissing Trump off. President Donald Trump pushed back against those using the term taco trade, aka Trump always chickens out, to describe how markets view him on tariffs, ripping him apart, or he's ripping them apart for ripping him apart. So it's very quickly becoming a he said, she said, and not the most happy with it. I believe he described it as an ugly question. That came from the CNBC side. So in the short term, there's a couple things where a legal setback, now there's almost like a narrative setback. So my base case here is after we had the good news with China, the UK, and then even the recent stuff with the European Union of we're making progress, the pendulum's going from one side to the other. We had a grouping of good news, market up and up and up. Then we took a little bit of a hit, and now we're kind of stuck almost in the middle with that confusion. So that's the headlines on trade war, which all of that played out between yesterday with Nvidia, the trade war stuff kind of last night, and then this morning. And then we had more stuff this morning related to just the macroeconomic numbers. U.S. economy shrinks 0.2% on weaker spending, larger trade impact. I hate that headline because in reality, the GDP report we got this morning was good because it was the way the revisions, the secondary readings go. Last time around, they expected it to be a drop of 0.3. This time it was a drop of 0.2. So if you're looking at the market this morning at 8:30 a.m. ET and the market went up and then you're reading these headlines about GDP weaker than expected, you would naturally assume that the market's going to go down. doesn't make sense. Well, in reality, it does when you realize that the line in the sand was a drop of 0.3. So on a relative basis, it was actually an improvement. Once again, that came out this morning. And that in reality leads us to this very moment where we're checking out the market. Let me see where we are again. Nice pop. SPX recaptured 5,900. That's a bit of a win. So right now we're up about 0.2%. So slightly green on the day, not as green as myself was hoping last night when I saw the futures market. But now this is setting us up for a very interesting tomorrow. Now we're future looking. 8:30 a.m. ET tomorrow, we're going to get a very important inflation report, the PCE report, the personal consumption expenditure. Remember, this inflation report is the one that the Fed, according to the voting FOMC members, that they weigh the most relative to the other reports, such as like the CPI and the PPI. So that is going to be out tomorrow morning. Once again, 8:30 a.m. ET, we are getting an inflation report. And on top of that, we're seeing quite a bit of action in the open interest for tomorrow's weekly expiration. So putting this all together, I'm still leaning a little bit more to the bullish side in the short term. I'm obviously still swinging my calls and my bullish positions. I even have some 0DT puts I just sold that the Discord all knows about. So I think the bulls are still in control, but just between yesterday and today, there's more confusion than we were anticipating. So definitely pay attention to that inflation report, and obviously good luck with that weekly OPEX. But before I let you guys go, right now, it does seem like we're caught up in more of just like the GEX and DEX, just that transition zone. I'm not really looking for much of a range. I at first was hopeful, but it seems like those opportunities are quickly slipping by. But what I need to call out is not only for tomorrow to pay attention to the inflation report, but today at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m., I guess, whatever time zone I'm in here, there's going to be a big talk. I have the opportunity to host it. Chris is going to be there. And then we're also going to have a specialty guest. So once again, 5 p.m. Eastern today, check it out. Wherever you're watching this, it's going to be a Rumble exclusive. So put on your notifications, do what you need to. But once again, a specialty guest, really cool talk. I think you guys are going to be super excited about it. So I'm going to be catching you guys later today. Best of luck in the market for the remainder of the day. I'll see you guys later on. And if not, I hope you make a shitload of money. That's what I have for you now. Catch you guys later.